Good morning and good afternoon, boss ladies. Happy Friday. Yay, it's Friday. Everyone knows I love Friday. It's my favorite day of the week. I hope everyone is having the best day of your lives. Welcome to Creating Opportunities. I'm your host, Bill Haga, Executive Loan Officer with Rocket Mortgage Local. I always stress local because my pricing is a good 1% to 1.25% better than our call center in Detroit, Michigan. So let's unpack that for a second. All right. On a $650,000 purchase, working with me versus the home office, your client's going to save between $6,500 and $8,125. Okay. That's just for the rate. That's the difference between my rate and my home office rate. All right. So that's huge. Wow, right? I mean, that's a huge savings. So make sure that you're referring your clients to me directly. I've got a link that we can share to you so you can share to them, or just send me a text with them, a three-way text, introduce us, and I can take over from there. It's really that simple. But I would never, ever, ever let my client get online to go find a mortgage anywhere, right? I just wouldn't. I mean, you need someone who's going to be involved the entire time, someone you know that's going to pick up their phone if there's an issue or a question or a concern, regardless what time it is or what day it is, right? I mean, that's what I provide you. Okay. Plus the pricing's huge difference. Okay. So let's get to today's agenda. Underwriting before going under contract. That's a big one. That is a big one right there. Rebuttable presumptions. What is it? I said the same thing. I had no idea. B2B opportunity, right? Business to business opportunities. Who's self employed on here? All you boss ladies are probably self employed unless you're dual employment, right? So just think for a second within your community, how many people are self employed? Can't wait to get to the self-employed piece. Love it. Asset depletion, how to recognize it, when to use it. So these are, once again, these are programs that we're going to talk about. But we're also going to explain how to use them, how to market them, right? How to get more business from, once again, these are just different ponds, if you will, to fish in. Okay. You've got a retirement pond. You got a first time buyer pond. You got renters ponds. I mean, all these make up bodies of water that we can fish in. Okay. Um, so let's go ahead and dive into it. So, underwriting, we all know, especially if we've been in the business for any length of time, underwriters don't see files until you actually have a contract, signed contract, and the file's been submitted into processing. That's it. Right. So then the processors tear everything apart. They order everything, and then they double check, make sure all the docs are there, and then it gets submitted into the underwriter, right? The underwriter is really the decision maker on the file. You're going to make or break that file. It's going to close or not based off of that underwriter. Underwriters kind of have a different viewpoint than us out here in sales, right? It's our deal, our job, and our responsibility to make sure that we get clients and get them submitted to close. It's the underwriter's responsibility to make sure that they qualify to close. And it's a big difference in thought process, trust me. Loan officers and underwriters sometimes kind of go back and forth because of conflicts and different thoughts. All right. We think things one way, they think things a totally different way. But thank God that our underwriting team is phenomenal. They are probably the best underwriting team I've ever ever had to support me. I can send an email, I can get a response. If I've got a hairy mess that I can't even put in words, they'll get on phone with me and we'll talk through it. Okay. So this is the type of support that comes with working with me in local. Okay. So let's go ahead and dive more into this underwriting piece because this is super exciting. So imagine you're a buyer's agent, you got a buyer, they submit their information, you're kind of in the dark, right? So I'm the one that's looking at the financials. I can see pay stubs, assets, right? I can look at their credit. I can match them with a program. I can do everything on my side. I can foresee things based off of what I'm hearing. I can collect all that information up front. And at the end of the day, something pop up and stop us from closing, or we need to, pivot, right? I don't like to say not close because it's always just a pivot. We need to add somebody, we need to do something, make some changes or something, right? But we're always focusing on the closing of the deal. But let's get back to it. So if you've got somebody, um, you want to know you want to have confidence when you're making the offer. Now, moving forward, we're asking for every single document up front. Okay, pay stubs, um, W-2s, tax returns if we need them, bank statements, and we're just not looking at bank statements from 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. We're looking at current data, okay? Because we ask our clients to link their accounts to our system, so then we can offer those verified approval letters, okay? But now, as a buyer's agent, you're making an offer. I mean, you can now make an offer with all the confidence in the world, knowing that an underwriter saw this file versus just me or another loan officer. Excuse me. So this is moving what is normally toward the middle of the process all the way up to the front of the line. All right. Once again, to make sure that our buyer is going to close. Our buyer has already been verified, credit, income, assets, and by an underwriter who's looking up all the guidelines and everything of what they see. Okay, because that's their piece. That's what they do. Um, Personally, I think that's huge, right? I mean, when you're making an offer, I couldn't imagine sitting there all the time not really knowing how strong that buyer is, right? Because you just don't. We do. That's why we're putting together the pre-approval letter and the estimated numbers for you. But this should do a number of things. Okay. One, give you the confidence as the buying agent when you're making your offers. Two, the listing agent and the seller are now receiving, our verified approval letter versus our pre-approval letter, our basic pre-approval letter. So if you've seen our basic pre-approval letter, over on the right hand side, it may state assets, income, and credit, but maybe only credit's the only thing's checked because an underwriter hasn't really reviewed it. But once an underwriter reviews it, then those other sections get checked as well. Now, if it's someone who needs seller credit, okay, well, they don't have all their assets, right? They need seller credit in order to be able to close on their loan. So in that scenario, the assets won't be checked, right? Because they need assets. They need something to help them close on that loan. All right. So keep in mind, we're also providing a verified approval letter at that point in time that states that we're going to pay that buyer $1,000 if we don't close their loan. All right. The whole idea is to be the best that we can be at the offer. All right. No one wants to show someone 15 houses. I don't want to work up 15 houses of numbers. No, we want to knock this out in 2 or 3 houses, right? We want to be efficient with our time. If we've got someone that we're out there showing 30 homes to, and they haven't bought anything yet, I'm about exhausted. I'm sure you are too. And just think for a second, all that time, what you could have used that time for to be obviously more productive. Goodness. Okay. So the next thing that I want to talk about is this rebuttable presumption. What is it? I said the same thing. I had no idea what this thing was. But think for a second, all your past clients who couldn't quite get to where they needed to be, right? Because of income, debt to income ratios. This is where all this comes into play at. So if you've, and this is another reason I may be biased because I work here, but my God, if you're not sending your clients to me to come to Rocket, I don't understand, right? So now we're underwriting files before we even have contracts. We're already the number one, number two company, depending on the month, right? Because we've got a competitor that we're going back and forth. But at the end of the day, these are little races. Months are races, right? Who wins that month? At the end of the year, we'll see who's crowned the number one company once again in the mortgage industry. And keep in mind, we bought part of our acquisition was Mr. Cooper, and that was our number one competitor's book of business. So it's just a matter of time once these refinances kick in that we're definitely going to blow their doors off. We'll be number one, I promise you. All right, so back at it. So this rebuttable presumption really allows us to qualify more buyers. So some of these people that didn't qualify before under the safe harbor guidelines, all right, so safe harbor guidelines, they're built into all of our systems. All right, this prevents us from, you know, creating high cost loans or approving high cost loans because they kick them out. You can't even finish the data within the system it won't even let you print out a loan application because of it, right? It's high cost. You got to change it. So with this rebuttable presumption, it's actually going to allow us to qualify more buyers. So under safe harbor, a loan must have an annual percentage rate close to the average prime offer rate to qualify. Rebuttable presumption allows for a wider APR margin, meaning loans with slightly higher interest rates will now qualify. So we've implemented this system already within our system, all these guidelines. So now our system, when we're running our pre approvals, it's running both comparisons through the safe harbor as well as the rebuttable presumption to make sure that we're double checking and not missing something to where someone can be approved. Okay, so think about that. Think about your clients. How many clients do you have that had to pretty much buy less than what they really needed to be within the market? Excuse me. I know that Miranda and I have some clients down in Alabama that fit this same scenario, right? They just miss, right? I mean, you do everything you can. You change it from well, I better not give up any of my secrets when it comes to structuring a deal because that's what I'm kind of known for, right? So I don't want to give that away, but I have other ways of making things work. Okay. And it's just based off of my training. I'm no one special. It's just training. Okay. But that's huge. Okay. If we can qualify more people at a higher loan amount to get them, to be able to buy within their communities, I mean, that's huge, right? You are the ambassador of your community. Okay. I need your help to identify who these people are so we can help them. All right. Let's talk about business to business. This is one of my favorites. I like to talk to business owners. I'm a boss. You're a boss. You got your own business. I run my own business. Let's chat. So let's talk about being self employed. You're all self employed. How do you handle your taxes? I bet you write everything off that you can: gas, marketing, whatever, right? Food, open house, whatever. You're writing everything off that you can to show the least amount of income so you pay the least amount of taxes. I mean, I always laugh and joke, but it's true. I mean, I send flowers and chocolate to my accountant. That's what we do. All right. I mean, I love her. I mean, she saves me more money than I could, probably save myself. I guarantee it. So we're all in the same boat when it comes to taxes. All right. No one wants to pay taxes, but when you don't pay taxes, it hurts you on the financing side. And used to, there were no options. Then they came out with a 12-month personal or business bank statement program. Okay. When they first came out, those were adjustable rates. They weren't even fixed rates. Here you are, a staple in your community. You've running a business. You're committed, right? I mean, you're both feet in the community, doing everything that you can. And then because the way you handle your income on your finances, you don't qualify for any loan programs. No more, right? No more. That day's over. Thank God. So with these new non-QM programs that we just picked up, they just started July 29th. So these programs just came out. We've had the program, but now we have a much better program within this program, if that makes any sense to you. All right. So when you write off all your expenses and you leave yourself with 20,000, 25,000 in income for the year, once you divide that by 12, that's only a little over $2,000. How are you going to qualify for anything based off your debt to income ratios? You won't. You add 4 or 5 people to the loan, maybe at that point in time you can, but no one wants to do that. So we've got some perfect alternatives. All right. So, for instance, right now I've got a customer in Alabama. He's a driver for Uber and Lyft. Okay. He also does some things on the side, still driving, picking things up for people, dropping people off. It's all the same. All right. So when I look at his income on his tax returns, it was really like $8,000 for the year. $8,000. You can't buy a house when you don't even have the income, right? So I said, all right, no worries. The credit score is good. Let's take a look at your bank statements. So then it was asking, do you use, do you have your personal and business totally separated, right? Because there's commingling and there's commingling guidelines out there. So if you commingle, okay, we're just going to use your personal 12 months bank statements at that point in time. All right. If you're truly running everything totally separate in a business account, you've got everything separated, right? And you're running it just like that, perfect. We can use your personal or we can use your business 12 months. Wherever most of the money's coming in at, let's use those, right? Because that's going to increase your income. So, what we do, if you provide a service, we're just going to take 20% off the top. So, for 12 months, so you're going to provide me with 12 months of your bank statements. I'm going to go through your bank statements and I'm going to calculate all the deposits that we can accept. Okay. Transfers from one account to another don't count. Um, I think Venmo and PayPal are iffy, right? Cash App seems to be pretty solid because you can link the two people together and create a paper trail and know that it came from that person and it was this amount. Okay, because I just kind of went through all that. Um, but at that point in time, we're totaling all your deposits and we're taking 20% off the top if you're providing a service. If you're providing a product, then I'm taking 30% off the top. And then I'm just dividing the rest of it by 12. So once again, you may show $25,000 on your tax return and think, Well, I can't finance anything. I got to do everything with cash. No, you don't. Not whatsoever. Right? Call me. I'll show you how to do it. All right. So that's where these bank statement programs come in. At that point in time, they're going to be able to buy, right? Because that's where all their deposits, that's where their money's at. That's how we can link it up. So that is huge. Just sit there and think about how many business people you know in your community. The guy that runs the local garage, the guy that owns the restaurant, the lady who runs the car wash, right? All these different businesses, these little stores, they're all self employed. They're just like you. All right. Their tax returns look probably just like yours, right? It's on purpose. So here's another pond. This is the self employed pond that you need to be fishing in. If you're not fishing in this pond, you're missing out a ton of business. Ton of business. Because now we have a solution for these people, right? Now we've got a 30-year fixed program. We also have an interest only program to help them even more. All right. The interest only program's new. It just came out on the 29th. It's one of these new programs. Okay. Let's also go a little deeper. Um, so, for instance, I tell you all the time I do a lot of purchases and refinances for real estate agents themselves, right? And like I said, they're 1099, so we're looking at bank statements and all kinds of different things depending on what we got and how they calculate it and use their write-offs. But I mean, at that point in time, now you got an interest only loan. I don't think anyone else out there has that. All right. So we want to market to these people and we want to let them know that we can help them. Okay. Once again, contact me. Let's schedule an appointment. Let's get you some co branded marketing materials and let's get out there and get some business. It's out there for the taking. No one's out there talking to these people about these programs. Okay. So that's the business piece. Um, let's talk about the asset depletion program. Who works with retired people? Fixed income, right? We all do. All right. So when you have someone who's retired or on fixed income, first thought should be me. Should be like, my God, I need to get a hold of Bill and talk through this. Exactly. Because once again, this is an asset depletion program. All right. So a lot of retirees don't have a lot of income, but they do have assets. All right. So now we're going to turn those assets into income. And we're probably one of the most aggressive lenders when it comes to asset depletion because we use 84 months. Most people use more months. More months you use, the less income you can use. Right. So here's a great example. I've got a client right now in Maryland who is retired. Okay. Um, pension, Social Security. So altogether, they make about, or, 6, 7 grand. Let's call it $6,200 is really what it was. All right. And that's both of them. And that's just Social Security for her, his Social Security and pension. Pretty good. I mean, $6,200 a month, pretty good for fixed income, right? However, they have, and let me give you a little backdrop on the client. Um, been retired 2 years, 65, full of energy, and constantly on the go. All right. They're not ready to downsize. Both of them are in good shape. Still able to climb stairs, all that good stuff. Right. So they're not looking to downsize by any means. They're looking to really buy up. I mean, they're buying a condo on the beach. All right. He always said if he retired, he was going to be in the woods or on the ocean. So apparently, she didn't want to be in the woods. So they went to the ocean. So they have assets. Okay. So in their money market account, they have like 650,000 there. Okay. So most people would just use it as assets, right? Assets are covered. Here's my income. This is what I'm dealing with. Now, that thought process has them buying a $250,000 house. Okay. Open your mind. Now we can use those reserves as income. So I'm going to take that total that's in their account and I'm going to divide that by 84 months. That's $7,738 that I just added to their income. They can buy anything that they want because they qualify for it based off of a program that they might not have known about. Okay. So this is where us working together, creating new opportunities comes into play. All right. I explain these things in detail and how to utilize them. So then when you're talking to a client and you know that they're retired, that's probably a good lead for Bill, right? Because we can help them better. The whole idea is doing business with me is because I can do something and help a little better than somebody else, right? Because we always want to give our clients the best thing that's out there available to them and for them and what they can qualify for. So that's what makes us ambassadors. That's what makes us boss, right? The boss of our communities because we have the education, we have the knowledge to share with everybody. All right. So that's what makes it so important to let's get co-branded flyers together that talk about these programs so then you can start promoting them. When you start chasing these programs, you're going to find loans for these programs. It's funny. It's always about what you're chasing. Always seems to be what you end up getting. Right? Now, mind you, fishing is a little different. You know, you may have a worm on there thinking you're catfishing and a bluegill take off with your bait. Okay, it's just a little smaller fish, right? But we take all the clients that we can get, right? The the whole idea is to be able to fish, if you will, market, promote yourself in all these little sectors of business. Okay? I like to break things down in the quadrants, if you will, right? So start adding these to your portfolio, right? Your arrow, your quiver, right? It's just another arrow for you to put in your quiver and keep your ears open. You got to listen for these things. If you know they're retired, I've got a great program for them. Okay. No one wants to buy a $250,000 house. They don't. Nope. Not if they can afford a much higher priced house. Right. I like a little luxury myself. Right. Okay, so that's the asset depletion that we use for. We can use it for business owners, right? This all kind of connects, and retirees is really the best scenario. I have had a couple um, younger buyers who had quite a bit of you know assets that they had built up. They'd sold a couple businesses. Doesn't matter what your age is. It's a program. We're not here to discriminate. All right. So anybody that fits that criteria, hey, I got a lot of assets, bell should go off. Hey, I need to get this client with Bill Haga at Rocket Mortgage. That's it. All right. Let me see if I've got any other good news in here. Um, like I mentioned, that interest only option for the business to business, the self employed people. That's huge. All right. We also now have on our jumbo programs, we have a 40-year fixed mortgage with a 10-year interest only option. All right. We're going to get into that next week. I want to do some numbers. I want to show you what all that is and what it means when it reflects on the numbers, because that's where the asphalt or the rubber meets the asphalt. Oh, let me see here. What else did I have? think that's pretty much it. Once again, we'll be sharing my link that you can share with your clients. Remember, we pull a soft credit report. So if they're already with a lender, no worries. We're not here to hurt anybody. We're here to help everybody, right? I mean, we changed our whole mission, helping everyone home, changed our logo and everything else for this mission. All right. We came out with rent rewards because of this mission, right? People that are renting, we're giving credit to for their closing costs, down payment money. No one else is doing that. But this is why we're doing those things. We feel like here at Rocket that everyone should have a home, right? No one, if you don't want to rent, you should have a home. Why? Because that's what builds equity and wealth for your family. That's what what this whole thing is about, is the wealth on the other side of it. Okay. That's all I've got for today. Please share my information, my application link with your clients. If you have any questions, I'm super accessible. My phone's always on. My number's on the screen. My email's on the screen. You can find me. You can look me up. Like I said, I'm very easily to reach. And we know that we've got a lot of opportunities out there. Okay. We want to utilize what we have in order to bring in as much business as we possibly can and help as many people as we can with these programs. Okay. So, boss ladies, make sure you click the link, schedule your appointment with me. Let's definitely get this moving forward. Let's get you some co-branded marketing materials so you have some arsenal that you can now start marketing to your people. And let's get a game plan based off of your business and what's in your communities, right? Some of you are surrounded by large rental complexes. If you're not if you're not targeting those rental places, you're missing an entire, fishing opportunity. I mean, I think that's like that's more of a huge lake versus a pond. Okay. So identify these, work with me. Let's get some co branded materials together. And let's go after this business. That's all I've got. Keep having a great Friday. Let's get your clients conditionally approved now versus pre approved, right? Because everything's going into underwriting beforehand. Huge. And let's get them under contract. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you all. Boss ladies, have an awesome weekend. I will have my phone on all weekend. I will be accessible. If you need anything, you have any questions, pick up the phone and call me. Let's make this work. Thank you. Take care. Have a nice weekend. Bye, everybody.